Welcome to the lecture 12 of Financial Econometrics, and in this video we are going to understand the basic analysis and we are going to perform those basic analysis in Stata. So let's move towards the content. We are going to understand the descriptive analysis and interpret the descriptive analysis, the correlation table and the regression table. We are going to perform these analyses in Stata. Previous video we understood the interface of the Stata, we saw how to write a command and the command syntax, the do file. And this video we are going to analyze some data, find its descriptive analysis, find the correlation and the regression table and interpret those results. This would be basic OLS regression, and we aren't going to apply the assumption of those regression in this specific video, but once we cover the detail of each of the description, each of the assumption and its remedies and the signs that it show, then for each of that assumption we would see how we can perform that assumption in Stata. So let's get started and let's open the Stata file. So we have opened Stata software. There isn't any data loaded. We are again going to load the example dataset, and currently, because the nature of example datasets is quite simple and we do not want to delve into the issues that we can face while loading our own customized dataset, we would have a workshop on that, how to load and manipulate and how to change the data, how to merge different data. But for now I would like to keep those aspects of the data out of the lecture, and let's simplify it and understand the basic ideas of different analysis. So example data set, we are going to use the auto data. We previously saw it is loaded. And first I would perform the simple summary statistics. I would go to statistics menu, and whenever I am going to perform some data manipulation, create or change a variable, combine data set, then I am going to the data menu. If I wanted to generate some histogram, bar chart or line chart or anything that is related to graphs, I would go to the graph menu, and if I wanted to perform some statistical analysis, then the statistics menu is where I needed to go. So I click on summarize, and then the first option again, and then there is some summary statistics. I click on this one, and let's say my dependent variable is price and the independent variable is weight, length and the trunk size, right? So my dependent variable is price, the independent variables are these. So I can simply click on OK and the summary statistics will generate. But let's say if I click on submit, what it would do is it would keep the dialog box open and it would generate the results. And if I wanted to change some statistics or some aspect of this command, just to add additional details, we can use these qualifiers. So I just wanted to use this by qualifier, and what this by qualifier would do is it would run the same command for different subsets of the data. So for example, in this case we have a variable by the name of foreign, and the foreign variable, let's go to the data view and see what this foreign variable contains. We type edit, it would open the edit menu, and this foreign variable have two values. It either have a domestic or foreign. So it says that the car is either produced in foreign country or a domestically produced car. So let us get back to the dialog box. Okay, so click on this, and we want to group the data by our categorical variable. We click submit, and now we would see it performed summary statistics for all those variables for the domestic. And remember, we had 74 observations, but 52 of them were domestically produced car, 22 of them were foreign produced car, and the domestically produced car have a mean price of 6,000. The foreign produced car are the mean price is 6,300. So $300 expensive than the domestic car. Their standard deviation. And if you are familiar with the center of tendency and center of dispersion, and then we have mean and minimum and maximum. The minimum price for domestic car is 3,200 and the maximum is 15,000. The foreign car minimum price is 3,700 and the maximum is around $13,000. So in descriptive statistics, we simply describe the data. And we do not comment on the causality of or the relationship of the variables. So in this case, we are simply describing the data. It's the characteristics of the data. There is no independent or dependent variable. So I just had this additional statistics for different groups, and you would see that there is a by prefix, by foreign, comma, sort, or we can simply type this command as BYS and it would mean by sort, and we would replace this. This would simplify this command. So we say by sort, foreign, it would sort the foreign variable, and that is just the requirement of Stata, that variable, that categorical variable should be sorted before using it as a by variable. So we want to perform this command for each of the category of the foreign variable. So I just did this additional statistics, but our main descriptive statistic is this one, right? So we just copy and paste this in our file and we interpret it, right? So let's move towards correlation. Okay, the correlation can be found in again the summary statistics, and it would be here correlation and covariance. As we click on this option, the dialog box would appear. We would select the variables that we want. So you remember our dependent variable is price and the independent variable is weight, length and the trunk size. So in correlation, basically we find the association between different variables. So again, in correlation there is no dependent variable, there is no independent variable, and association is different from causality, causation. In association, we are simply saying that there is some kind of a relationship between variables, between two or more variables, but we do not know the direction of the relationship. That means whether price is affecting the weight or weight is affecting the price, right? So correlation is simply association. We do not have the dependent or independent variable in this correlation, and all the variables are treated as equal. So we click OK, and this would generate the correlation table. The command that is used is correlate, and then all the variables that are used. So you would notice that the correlation between weight and price is 0.53. So they have a positive correlation. So when one moves upward, the second would move in the same direction. Similarly, length and trunk would also have positive correlation, and this is consistent with our understanding that when weight of a car or length of a car or trunk size would increase, its price would increase. But from this statement you shouldn't conclude the causation. I just meant to give you an idea of the logical aspect of this. So then we have the correlation between the covariates. So we have all the pairwise correlation. We have the correlation between length and weight, and you would see it's quite high. It might be that both these variables are presenting some kind of a same information, and remember, from multicollinearity, when two x variables, independent variables, had higher correlation, then there was chances that we had an issue of multicollinearity, but again we would have some diagnostic tests that we would use to find out. It is simply the start, and higher correlation wouldn't necessarily mean that there is an issue of multicollinearity, but just in case. So there is a correlation of 0.7 between trunk and length. So this 1, obviously price and price would have a correlation of 1. Okay, so once we get an idea of the correlation between the variables, we can interpret it, we get the idea of whether there is an issue of multicollinearity, but more on this in coming lectures. So lastly, we would move towards regression analysis. We click on statistics, linear models, linear regression, and now only in this dialog box you would see a separate text box for dependent and the independent variables. So remember, our dependent variable in this case was price, and our independent variables were weight, trunk, and weight, length, and trunk. I would explain this suppressed constant term later in lectures, but let's just run this command. So the command that is used to run regression is regress, and then first we write the dependent variable and then the independent variable, and before moving forward it is better, you would appreciate to understand the syntax of regress command. So let's help regress. You would see that we need to give regress for the command name, and then we start with the dependent variable name. Remember, it is just one variable, dependent var, not var list or vars. Secondly, we need to input independent variables, so we can have more than one variables, right? Okay, so we have 74 observations. The F statistics is 12, and the probability, we are concerned with this probability. It is significant. Remember, when we have 3 levels of significance, one is the 10% level, the 5% level, and 1% level. When the p-value is less than 0.05, then we say that it is significant at 5%. When it is lesser than 1%, then 0.01, then we say that it is significant at 1%, and when it is less than 0.1 but greater than 0.05, then we would say that it is significant at 10%. And this p-value represents the type 2 error, the probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis. So we want this error to be minimum. The minimum the error, the better the results are. So in this case, the error is quite minimum, you can say, in simplistic view. So we can say that these variables are jointly significant, or simply put, this model is significant. I'll come to this R square in a while, but let's move to the main table. We have these independent variables, and then we have a constant term. Remember, we had alpha, and if you remember, we would write our equation as say alpha plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 and beta plus beta n xn. This is how we would write it. So these x1, these are the variables. So in this case, we have weight, length, and the last variable is trunk. So this is our model. And these beta values, so this alpha value, this constant value is this one. So we can say, even if, so in this case it won't make sense, but let's just bear with me and I will give you another example. Or the example of, you can recall the example of wage or salary and education that we discussed in our class. So this constant simply means that when all the independent variables are 0, then even then there would be a price of a car. Remember the dependent variable. This would be the value of the dependent variable. So if this weight was 0, so 0 multiplied by B1 would be 0. If length was 0, again the answer would be 0 and this one 0. But we would be left with this constant. So what this means is that if we multiply, we add them up, this whole equation would give us 0. And then we have alpha. So the value of y would be 1812, which is equal to constant. So this constant means, and you can write it, the value of dependent variable when all the value of all the independent variables is 0. So if we had our model of salary, which is equal to alpha plus beta 1 education, and let's say we found out that the alpha value was 7,000. So this interpretation would be that salary of a person would be 7,000 even if all the independent variable was 0. So in this case, if the education was even 0, so this aspect would be 0 and we would be left with 7,000. So the value of dependent variable when all the other independent variables are as 0. So this then these coefficients, what they represent. So weight, for every 1 unit increase in weight. So let's say if weights were in pounds, then we would say for every 1 pound increase in weight, the price of the car would increase by $4.72. Length, for every, if length was in say centimeters, then we would say for every 1 centimeter increase in the length of a car, the price would decrease by $102. And say trunk was the trunk size. So for every unit increase in the trunk size, the price of the car would increase by $28. And this standard error simply represents the precision of the coefficients. The higher the standard error, the higher would be the dispersion. Coming towards the t or the p value, the interpretation would be same. You just have to stick with one thing. They both would give you exact same answer. So sticking to the p value, remember it is less than 0.01. So you would say that this variable is significant at 1%, and it means that the chances of rejecting null hypothesis is quite low. So we say that the answer that we are getting is not merely by chance. Now, in this case, this variable is significant at, it is greater than 0.01 but less than 0.05. So we can say it is significant at 5%. And the last variable is, the value is greater than 0.1. So this variable is insignificant. And this insignificant would mean that the chances of rejecting a null hypothesis is quite high, and so we aren't confident enough to reject the null hypothesis. And the null hypothesis is, remember, always in this case the null hypothesis would be, in all these cases, that the coefficient is 0. So in this case we are assuming that the null hypothesis is that the effect of trunk on price is 0. So there is no effect of trunk on price. So this is our null hypothesis, and our alternate hypothesis is let's just say that is not equal to 0. So there isn't a sign for not equal, but normally we use exclamation mark equal to 0. So we either reject the null hypothesis or we do not reject it, or simply put, we accept it. So if we accept the null hypothesis, we would reject the null hypothesis, and vice versa. So in this case, when the p-value is less than 0.1, it depends on our level of significance, it is less than 0.05, then we would say that we would reject the null hypothesis. So when we reject the null hypothesis, we would accept alternate hypothesis, and we can say that in this case it isn't trunk, we are discussing about weight. So the weight, the effect of weight on price is not 0. In this case, because it is greater than 0.05, or if we relax the significance level at 0.1, then we can say at 0.1. So it is greater than whatever value, benchmark value we set, say 0.05, then we cannot reject null hypothesis. And not rejecting null hypothesis means that the effect of trunk, there is no effect of trunk on price, or we can say that we do not have enough evidences to prove that there is an effect of trunk variable on the price of a car. Lastly, we have R square, and it would be between 0 and 1. So this 0.34 means that 34% of variations in our dependent variable is explained by these 3 independent variables. Remember, the idea is to find out the factors of the change in price of a car. What are the factors that affect the price of a car? And we found out that there are these 3 factors. We analyzed the data, and this value is suggesting that the 34% of variation in the price of a car is due to these 3 variables that we have included in our model. And we would have further discussion on this R square in our coming lecture. Thank you very much.